This is George from High Tech Legion. Since the absolute very beginning of popularity of AIO liquid coolers, one of the biggest complaints has been that we see quite a few brands out there, but basically only two different actual coolers on the market. So you wind up with a lot of Me Too products. Basically the same cooler being remarketed over and over and over, with the only change really being the fans. Breaking that trend, today we're taking a look at the Silverstone Tundra series, the TD02 and the TD03, which are anything but a Me Too. They're a Silverstone in-house design made by an OEM that we have never seen before in the AIO cooling market, bringing with it right off the bat an all-metal pump housing as well as an all-new radiator design which was patented by Silverstone. But that is not where the story ends with the Tundra TD02 and TD03. Looking at the Tundra TD02 and TD03 right off the bat, first let's make it clear. They are exactly the same unit. The only difference between the two units is the size of the radiator itself. The TD02 being a dual 120mm radiator, the TD03 being a single 120mm radiator. Otherwise identical. Same pump housing, same pump, same tubing. Otherwise, like I say, same fans, identical. So now, with that in mind, we're going to concentrate on the TD03 just because it's going to be a little easier to work with. So starting off, let's first take a look at the pump housing itself. You've got a 2200 RPM pump in the pump housing and uses, obviously, 3-pin connector for power. Now, as you can see, this is an all-metal pump housing. Nice Silverstone flake right on the top, brushed aluminum. All metal, as you see, copper contact block, which uses micro channeling on the inside, polished beautifully, as you can see. Metal mounting kit, all aluminum, extruded aluminum for greater strength. So no plastic clips, nothing small, breakable. They're using a very, very durable mounting kit. One of the big things here being this all metal pump enclosure is screwless. There are no screws used. It is entirely brazed together. This reduces the chance of leakage by an absolute infinite amount. There's no pressure fitting, no screws to loosen up or crack. There's no plastic to crack. You've got an all metal brazed together pump housing. So leaks are not a worry here in any way, shape, or form. Plus, with the all-metal pump housing, the metal itself, it's not listed in the features, but one has to think that it's going to dissipate some heat by itself. So 2200 RPM pump right in there. As you can see, just a beautiful design from Silverstone. Now, moving over to the radiator. Typically, we're used to seeing radiator fins in a zigzag pattern between the cooling pipes. Not the case here. They are brazed in a straight line. All of your fins are absolutely straight in a planar series. This gives you 40% better heat dissipation than the zigzag type we have seen in the past. So it just makes perfect sense. So moving away from the actual performance to the aesthetics, as you can see, it's a very, very nice looking design. Silver sides, very thick radiator, as you can see, all very nicely finished all the way around, white on the tops. Silverstone has speculated that it's going to be available in colors. However, for modders, this is going to be perfect. You can paint any color you like whatsoever all the way around and on the sides. So you can really work this into the theme of the case. So definitely not a Me Too piece, like I say. Quite a bit of difference in the metal pump housing. Radiator, completely different design. Strong 2200 RPM pump enclosed within. Corrugated tubing, as you see, and it is white rather than black, which is a change. And Silverstone TD02 and TD03 are going to offer a top performance in their class. The included fans with the TD02 and TD03 are Silverstone design once again. Silverstone's been known for their fans for some time. Obviously, this is not one of their off-the-shelf fans, specifically designed for the TD02 and TD03, as you can see with the swirled blades. They are 1,000 to 2,500 RPM, max out at 18 dB, also a little over 90 CFM. Moving over to the back of the fan, you'll see there are cut marks in each of the blades. This will actually add some turbulence, which is going to give you a little bit more airflow and quiet the fans as well. So you're looking at a very quiet fan capable of a lot of air movement. Moving on to the accessory kits for both units. The accessory kits are exactly the same as are the mounting kits. That includes the 2 fans included. The TD03 has 2 fans for push-pull operation included in the box. It's not a separate add-on. So it's not just the TD02 that comes with the 2 fans, both do. So moving on, first thing we see, instruction manual, well illustrated, very, very simple, well explained. Very easy install on the TD02 and TD03. Moving on, of course, we've got the 2 fans. Next, we see Amd Mounting Kit. These are actually the AMD mounting brackets for the block itself. It comes with the Intel brackets installed. AMD brackets are included in the kit. Vibration dampers for the fans. Your standoffs, screws, bolts. Y connector for the fans. Small tube of thermal interface material. And your all-in-one backplate with spacer, which is used for some sockets. Now that we've seen the units, let's take a look at the installation. While the TD02 really doesn't require anything in the way of prep work before you go into the case, personally I like to attach any fan I can to the radiator prior to putting it in the case. So I'm just going to take the 4 screws and we'll tighten them down. Now you see they are longer screws. They go through the fan itself and into the heat exchanger. Now we've got our first fan on, and you see we've taken on some girth. Very important to note, you want to make sure you are running your fans in the correct way. It is a push-pull, so they both need to face the same direction. We are going to be running it as an exhaust, so the fan, front of the fan will be facing this way, blowing air this way through the fins. Then, back fan will go on as such. Very important to make sure they're facing the same way. You don't want them blowing into each other or blowing away from each other. You want them both blowing in the same direction to pass air through the radiator. Next, I'm just going to assemble my backplate very quickly. As you look, very faintly you can see it says this side for Intel, this side for AMD. That is the side that will go against the motherboard. So when you're putting your bolts in, side for Intel, you want to face it away from you. You've got 3 screw holes on each corner for 775, 1150, 55, 56, and 1366. Choose your correct mounting hole and just push the 4 bolts through. Turn them till they lock into place. You can see the bolts down at the bottom have a small ridge which will fit in and lock it. So you turn till the ridge lines up, pull, and it locks. My first step in the case, I'm going to take the pre-assembled backplate and go around the back of the motherboard. And put it on. You can see the 4 bolts come right through. Next, I'm going to take 4 rubber standoffs and put them right over the bolts. These standoffs also do a good job of holding the back plate in place while you're working. And next, since my fan slots can be blocked, I'm going to plug in my Y connector for the fans and move it out of the way and leave it dangling. And I'll just get that out of my way and grab that later once the fans are installed. Now that we've got the backplate in, next we're going to put in the water block. First, I've gone ahead, applied the thermal interface material, and we're going to take the water block, We'll bring it up, and obviously the 4 bolts will go through the 4 openings in the block, and it will sit right on top of the standoffs. I did actually lose one of the bolts off my back plate as far as the lineup, so you just need to turn it until it locks back into place. And once you've got that set up, 4 spring screws go right on top and tighten the block down. Once you've got your block installed, you're going to need a power source for the pump. Any chassis fan header will work. However, very important, you must disable any type of fan control on the header you're using for the pump. It needs full 12 volts at all times. So we'll just pop that right on. So, very important, like I say, no fan control on that header. Alternatively, you can use a 3-pin to 4-pin Molex adapter as long as it's a 12 volt adapter, so you don't have to worry about accidentally turning on any fan control software. And our final step going to be to mount the radiator. I'm actually going to mount it up top. Of course, you can go with, especially with the 120, right to the back, replace the rear fan. However, I'm going to mount up top as we're going to be testing all the other fan or units in the testing with top mount. Put your fan right on top, get it lined up. Actually, I'm going to bring the cable over to the other side for a little bit better look. And bring the radiator and fan assembly into place. Get it lined up. With the holes in your case, and you'll just drop the screws through the top and screw the radiator into place. It can be a little bit of work to get everything lined up correctly, but perseverance obviously will pay off, and you'll get everything lined up and into place. And with the radiator fan assembly in place, all you've got left to do, connect your fans. Naturally, you can route the cables any way you like, get them out of sight, and you're good to go. All in all, very easy install. Hardest part was lining up the radiator with the top fan, which, you know, is really always a little bit of a challenge, but that's going to be the same in anything. The mounting of the pump and water block itself was very, very easy. Connections were very easy. PWM fan, so you can go right to your CPU fan header and you're all good to go. Overall, very easy installation, very clean. Looking strictly at the raw performance numbers, it's hard to argue with the TD02 and TD03. They both perform very, very well, right at the top of their respective classes. Now, looking at them strictly as a closed-loop all-in-one cooling solution, they're both absolutely phenomenal. Best build quality we've seen to date on an AIO, and by a long shot. Very, very imaginative, great engineering. Absolutely love the no screw sealed water blocks, and the new radiator design performs very, very well. It's about time somebody took some steps to go into a radiator which is going to have a little bit more effective heat dissipation, and Silverstone has taken that step. Plus, they're fantastic for modding, as I say. If you're going to be doing any painting or whatnot, you've got a good backdrop to work with, nice metal to work with, flat surfaces, so you've really got a lot going on there. As an overall cooling solution, well, you still have a problem with it being a bit loud and a bit pricey for the performance. That's going to be the same with any AIO liquid cooler. The Silverstone does come closer than anything I've seen before to solving both these, well, at least solving the noise dilemma. And price performance is the best we've seen so far too, but it still is a little bit on the noisy side. As AIO coolers, all-in-one liquid, closed loops, both pieces get an easy Editor's Choice Award. As overall cooling solutions, however, I'm going to give both gold awards, strictly on the high price performance ratio that you have going.